Hello and welcome to this episode of FM On Demand with Tara Fitzpatrick, Food Management's podcast. I'm your host, Tara Fitzpatrick, and today we are talking to a rancher, well, the CEO of a ranch, and a K through 12 food service director. So these two people are getting grass-fed beef into schools. We've got the Thompson School District Director of Nutrition Services, Lisa Kendall. That is a school district in Loveland, Colorado. And she is working with this ranch, Teton Waters Ranch and Grass-Fed Foods. Jeff Trapishin is the CEO, and they're going to tell us how they've kind of made a plan that is really interesting for getting grass-fed beef to kids. And they're also doing some cool blended stuff where I guess we could say stealth health, because there are some vegetables in there as well. And it's really interesting because as K through 12 food service directors, obviously cost is like such a huge deal. But I think that a change could happen where grass-fed beef could become more affordable once people start, the demand for it. So I've reported a lot on grass-fed beef in the past, and I care about humane care of animals. So this is a big deal. I think it's something important to look into, and we had a really good conversation. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Lisa and Jeff, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And we are going to be talking about grass-fed beef and K through 12. So I thought we would start with Lisa. I wondered if you could just give us a little bit of background about Thompson School District, where it's at, and how long you've been there.
So Thompson School District is in northern Colorado. We encompass about 350 square miles, so mostly Loveland, but we also have Berthoud and just barely into Fort Collins a little bit. So we are expanding, but northern Colorado. I have been here for about 17 years.
Nice. That is a good long run there. So it sounds like you know the district backwards and forwards, probably.
Some areas, yeah.
Always can learn. All right, so let's hear from Jeff. Tell us about your company.
So first, Tara, thanks for taking the time, and Lisa, thanks for continuing to help. So in the last 6 months or so, we've put together two companies to try to help the whole grass-fed industry just become a little bit more scalable, a little bit more predictable, consistent, so that you don't have a great eating experience and then maybe not such a great eating experience.
Yeah.
And not rely on imported product, but be able to support folks in this country that work real hard out in -6 degrees, which we have today in Colorado, ranching and doing all those things. And so we have two companies, one that does primarily fresh beef, the cattle side, and the other that does processed products. And that's really where working with Lisa and her team have been helpful, because we've tried to figure out products that kids like. And see if we can increase the kind of the micronutrient content so that it helps them long term.
It's true. And can you talk a little bit about why, and I've written about this several times over the years, grass-fed beef has more nutrients in it. It's better for you, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Lisa, do you want to do that, or do you want me to do that?
I think that's your specialty for sure. So
okay. Yeah, so as they intersect children, not as much, but I can tell you just generally, so grass-fed beef has a couple of things that is not in traditional grain-finished beef, which is what most Americans, 99% of beef in the United States is grain-finished, and it tastes great. But the difference, and these are health studies, this has nothing to do with my opinion. NIH and have done many decades worth of studies. And there's a couple of key things that grass-fed anything has versus things that are fed more of the grain side. And they really, things like omega-3s, which help a huge amount of health issues.
Oh yeah, the systems of your body.
CLAs, much higher. And then there's other things. There's just the normal, like vitamins, that are just more plentiful in grass-fed, but it's really the omega-3 and the CLAs
Mm.
that really combat a whole host of things that specifically children in that developing part seem to get less of, because kids are highly opinionated on what they want to eat and what they don't want to eat.
That's very
And
true.
so to me, it's always been that the trick is, can you get a child to eat what they like and make sure that it is actually of the quality you would like them to have more of?
That it's a,
And so that's what we're working with. That's what Lisa's team has kind of helped us figure out how to get some feedback on, so that we can take one school district and say, well, if it works in one place, why can't it work on other K-12 or college or kids menus throughout the country?
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
give them a chance to eat better.
Right. So Lisa, how did you come to the decision? How did you and, your team decide that we really want to serve grass-fed beef to the kids?
So, I would say that, back in 2010, when they made a lot of changes, they had the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act and a lot of changes to the nutrition guidelines for school lunches. So we've been undergoing a lot of changes since then. Before COVID, we really did a reorg of our department and thought hard about our priorities and what we wanted to do to feed kids. So we hired a chef and some different people, and we wanted to do more scratch cooking so that we could really control what was in our lunches and breakfast as well. And just made a commitment at that time to have a better program. And of course, that has taken a few detours in the last couple of years with COVID and supply chain issues. But really, Teton came to us quite unexpectedly. They came to us and said, "Hey, we have this product and we would like to partner with you, and would you be interested?" And I was like pinching myself going, "Are you kidding me? Like, where did you guys come from? This is awesome."
Yeah.
Because we love to source local products and clean labels, and just trying to get the most nutritious and delicious product for our students. So it was really unbelievable that they came to us with this idea. So we were super excited about it.
Yeah, very cool. And Jeff kind of touched on this earlier, like with the consistency of it. So is that kind of sometimes a drawback for a school district maybe to work with? It's like we're not sure what kind of product we're going to get, or we maybe need more than somebody can provide. Like, how were those issues, like, just were you able to work it out because of how you're working with them?
Yeah, we definitely spent a lot of time talking about the nutrition guidelines that we have to follow.
Right, that's another part.
National School Lunch Program. And so, we had several meetings just talking about formulations and what it takes to be part of a K-12 program. And so, that was something, because we have, experienced that with some other companies and stuff too, especially when USDA does make changes, they want to change sodium levels or different things. So then, companies are scrambling, trying to formulate new products. And sometimes it's a little tricky to get it right, but.
Yeah. So Jeff, how come you wanted to work with schools? What made you, what was the kind of like catalyst for that?
Well, it's actually a much more personal thing than a business thing. The school district is where our office is located. So we said, we're going to pick one in our backyard. But it was after I have 3 grandchildren and a 4th one due in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, exciting.
And so my oldest grandchild, I went to school to have lunch with him. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, "Pop, can you bring McDonald's?" And I went, Why would you want that? And other than just the kid part,
I mean,
fun,
kids love
he was
McDonald's.
like,
Yes.
Dad, Pop, I like that kind of stuff. And I started to just go, well, what do you normally get? What are the, kind of the nutritional side? Because they're just finicky.
Mm-hmm,
3-year-olds, a 6-year-old, they're just finicky.
Oh, yeah.
And as we started to just ask, because we have an executive chef on our team, and I was asking him, what's the quality and what are they missing and all those kinds of things. And he just said, well, you should read these studies. Grass-fed actually helps. We read them. And so we offered, we sat with Lisa and her team and we said, could we just kind of substitute a better hot dog nutritionally for maybe one you have today? We'll pay the difference just to see if kids really like that. Because as adults we do, and we can read the studies.
Right.
So we did that, and then it actually got us thinking. And we said, well, wait a minute, you fortify water with fluoride, you fortify milk with vitamins. I wonder if we could take the hot dog that's already grass-fed, but add things. Could we add vegetables? Could we, by adding vegetables, which we're actually launching in 2 weeks, if you add vegetables, what happens? And what we found out when we did the nutritionals is the sodium went down 50%.
Oh, wow.
Saturated fat went down 38%. And this meat already has some of the better things like omega-3 and so on.
Sure.
And no sugar, no antibiotics, some of those things that find their way into the meat supply.
Oh, yeah.
And so we said, let's make a whole line of these products and we'll see how it goes. So just things kids like. Hot dog, a hamburger, a ball, a corn dog, a little corn dog.
Oh, yeah. I love a corn dog.
Yeah. And which is really the bigger part. There's plenty of wonderful food for kids. It's just they don't really want to eat it.
Yeah. And then putting those vegetables in there too. That's amazing. That's like, it's next level stealth health. You're putting it right in there. And that almost kind of verges on the side of like therapeutic foods where like, if someone's like food insecure and you're putting these extra things in there, that's awesome. So.
Well, Lisa said something to us, which, kind of caught my attention is she said, in some cases, this is the best meal that some of these children are going to have any day. And it made us go, wow, if we can help anywhere, let's help Lisa intercept and make sure that that meal is as best it can be. And we'll try to figure out how to make it cost in a way that doesn't stress her more than she's already stretching those budgets.
Right.
Like addition. So.
Yeah, there is a lot. And I think, so Lisa, did you work with, and I guess you're not working so much with the ground beef product. You're working more with things that are like a little bit less hands-on with cooking. Have you worked with any ground beef? Because I know that cooks differently. And did you have like different training related to that if you did?
So we do use ground beef as well. We have that in different recipes, but it's not grass-fed beef. The ground beef is not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sarah, we're just starting with the hot dog. See how it goes.
Yes.
Then we have other items like I mentioned. And then if Lisa needs other things, we'll be happy to help. But we were trying to see if we could do it.
Yeah.
Because technically it's a bit of a challenge to take a product that's been around for a long, long time, 100 or more years, and suddenly be able to figure out how to get vegetables in there in a way that a child cannot tell. It's not like we're deceiving them.
Right. You don't want to,
we didn't want it to taste where they,
like that. And that's the same reason, like why your grandkids love McDonald's and why my daughter loves it. And I do too, honestly. It's like, because maybe our palates have gotten used to like chemicals that are designed specifically to taste a certain way. So it's awesome to break away from that. Like, what are the vegetables that you add in there? So
it's great. We put in butternut squash.
Ooh, okay.
Carrots and mushrooms.
Nice. Mushrooms are such a big deal for when you're looking at plant-based or like blended burgers. Like the Mushroom Council has a contest every year for the blended where you put mushroom with beef. So that would be a great candidate to put with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they were helpful in actually helping us pursue this.
Oh, cool. Yeah, nice.
They're very supportive.
Yeah, they are. Mushroom Council. Yes. Shout out to the Mushroom Council. Very cool. Good people.
Anybody that helps you succeed, especially when it's important. I mean, Lisa was sharing data with us in the studies we read, that when you're talking about 1 out of every 5 kids that are clinically obese.
Yeah.
And so that's about 15 million children in the US today in that age group. And it's on its way to 1 in 2.
Yeah.
Which would be about 38 million kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's the size of that's the population of California or Canada.
Yeah.
Clinically obese in the United States. That's unacceptable for our country.
It is. And we don't want to feed into diet culture either. It's a hard line to walk too.
Well, that's why
Definitely
do it in things they want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make them do something they
Or
don't
it
want to
doesn't
do.
feel like,
When they say I like a hot dog or a hamburger, give them a hot dog or a hamburger.
For sure. Yeah. So just in general, Lisa, what are some of the most popular menu items just in general? And I'm guessing, I'm sure they love the hot dogs. Those go over well. What are some of the sort of like best things that the kids really like?
Anything pizza stick, actual pizza, we do like a French bread boat that, it's kind of a pizza, French bread, whatever,
Oh yeah.
That's always our popular day. And when we do breakfast for lunch, if pancakes or waffles or chicken and waffles, anything like that,
they like
love
that.
breakfast for lunch too. That's what we're having today. So
fun. I like that. Yeah, definitely. And have you worked at all with the chef from the ranch? Like, have you worked back and forth with that chef?
We had a meeting with him to do some taste testing for the vegetable hot dog and some, they're just, when they're working on the formulation and all of that. So we tried all of those and they were delicious.
Nice. Very cool. And how do you communicate? Are you letting the parents know, like, we're getting the best food that we can for your kids? Like, because it varies by district, but a lot of times there's parents that are very like interested and vocal. So have you been able to kind of do a little bit of marketing on top of this?
A little bit. Honestly, we're not great at marketing. And so it's something that
it's hard. It's a thing. Yeah.
It is. And we don't have a person really dedicated to that for our department necessarily. The school district does, and they certainly helped with the rollout of Teton and the partnership with them. And, we put stuff on social media and that kind of thing. So, and we definitely get parents that are very vocal and have a lot of questions. And, 9 times out of 10, they have misperceptions about the program.
Yeah.
And so once we have a conversation with them and explain a little bit more about our program and the guidelines that we have to follow and the goals that, we realize that, you have the same goals that we have,
Right.
So they're enlightened at that point and feel a lot better about, the program. So they just didn't know. We just have to educate people. So
Right. Well, in your job, you have to be really patient and you have to, I don't want to say put up with a lot of stuff, but it's like you really do have to like know how to talk to people and how to explain things and keep it cool. So
there's just a lot of misperceptions out there, and everybody has their own, personal feelings about food too. So they bring that to the table.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely. What were you going to say, Jeff?
I was going to say their team, Lisa's team, has been very open to doing that. And what we said was, why don't we see how it goes for a little while and then figure out when the weather is reasonable, if they have an event, to figure out how to tell parents, here's what we're trying to do so that they can become fans. Lisa's team is on the cutting edge of trying to figure this out. And she offered, there's 57 other school districts in Colorado, Lisa, something like that you were telling us about?
In our co-op, there are 180, I think, districts in the whole state of Colorado, something like that. But we're in a purchasing co-op, about 55 in our purchasing co-op. Yeah.
And so assuming that this goes well, there'll be an opportunity to talk with folks like that, if appropriate, and see if we can do more. So it's not just education of parents, which is important, but it's also of other administrators that are
Oh yeah.
working hard to do the same thing and just don't happen to be in our backyard. And this gives them a way to see if this makes sense for them.
Right. Those purchasing groups are really good. And it does give districts a lot more power, a lot more say so. I definitely, it's complicated. Like, I mean, it's not really the easiest thing to understand, but I was lucky that somebody, a K-12 director, kind of sat me down and like explained it. And I was like, I think I understand this, because it's important to have the purchasing power, because that's such a big part. Lisa, what advice would you give to a school district if they want to start offering some grass-fed beef?
Well, I think, anytime that you can create local partnerships, whether it's, grass-fed beef, or we do a lot of local produce as well, that's definitely become a focus. And there is a grant funding out there now to help with that. There are a lot of food hubs that are being created as well to connect, farmers and growers and ranchers with school districts. And so, you just got to look around a little bit,
Yeah, I think that's gotten better. I think a lot more like sort of access to local people, because like maybe 10 years ago or something, if a school district wanted to work with a farmer down the road, there was like lots of probably good reasons that it wouldn't work and that they couldn't make it work. But now it's like there's kind of like there's middlemen, and there's, like you said, there's agents and there's grants to be had. It's like you got to do a little research and a little digging, but it's like, get that for your school, right?
Yeah, and everybody, as we all attempt to do this and learn and create and share some best practices, that's one thing that, I came out of the restaurant world, and school districts are so different in that, we don't compete with each other. When somebody has a great idea or, a great practice, we love to share those things with each other, because again, we all have the same goal. We want to give kids the best that we can give them so that they can succeed. And so that I love that about school districts.
Me too. Yes.
Restaurants. So restaurants are, very competitive, and they don't want to share their secrets.
No, they don't. So cutthroat. It's different. And I say that all the time, that like our readers are just some of the nicest people, have so much heart, especially those that are feeding kids, because it's like, they do it because they love to feed kids. And when you see those little faces in the lunch line, like I just melted. The first time that I went to a school and like interviewed, I was like, oh, it's so cute. It's just, you really make a difference for these kiddos, for sure. So I wanted to ask you guys both one last thing, a fun thing. Like what are you looking forward to this for the rest of this school year, and like maybe just future plans involving the beef?
Lisa?
I think, this time of year, we are laying groundwork for plans for next year. And so, it's been, the last couple of years have been a struggle with all the COVID and supply chain and labor shortages and all of that. So just being able to get back on track with more of the scratch cooking and bringing back some things that like salad bars and stuff that we were doing before. So, it's great to be able to, I love doing all the planning, it's so fun, and sometimes things don't always pan out the way that, you planned, but
that's for sure.
This partnership, we launched the hot dogs on the 1st of February, and it went really, really well. So we're excited to, continue that partnership and see where it goes. And I think, it'll be a great success, and maybe spread all over. I don't know. We'll see.
I hope so. Yeah. Jeff?
Yeah, I don't have to be practical like Lisa.
You can go crazy.
And so for us, it's a little different. We're trying to see if we can do it one time, which would be with Lisa's team.
Yeah.
Then how do we scale this so that however many that want to do it also have the financial resources to do it? Because we've said, look, we're not going to make any money doing this. We're going to do it because it's the right thing to do.
You should. Paul Newman, like Mr. Paul Newman.
Yes. Same concept. He did it way, way before anyone else did. But that idea, give something back.
Yeah.
To the most at-risk group.
Yep.
And so I would like to see this work so that we can talk to others about it. I've talked to some larger companies, the Bon Appetits of the world.
Oh yeah.
And larger companies like that are saying, look, we can get behind some of this. And that
Yeah.
provides the financial wherewithal to help.
That's the thing. Yeah.
And so that's really the next stage for me. It's I love being able to help my local community, but there's a lot of children in a lot of places that need to be reached. And we need to, that's what we need to figure out, is how do we get the math so that all the leases in the country can say, I can do that now. Yeah. And so that's where we need to invest our time.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces and parts, and it's like got to keep chipping away at it. And for the ranchers to make money too, it's like you're looking for a win-win situation for everybody. But really, I mean, environmentally, nutritionally, it's not controversial. Like grass-fed beef really is the best. I really believe this from the research that I completely, it's a fact. So
well,
I'm
it's
so glad.
easy. A friend of mine is the head of purchasing at Shake Shack, and we were talking, and he said, Tripp, it's so easy for most restaurateurs to modify a kid's menu. And a lot of them have a hot dog or have a hamburger, have something. It could be easily substituted, corn dog, whatever it might be. And he goes, and he encouraged me, pursue that, because every chef of yours that's thinking about this can go, well, I control that menu. I can make that change. Whether it's our product or a competitor of ours, it's like just upgrade of something on that kid's menu to start to change that child's diet wherever we intersect them, at the school or at a restaurant.
Yeah, I really like that. Well, thanks so much to both of you for being here. And I'm going to keep in touch and see what goes on, and stay warm there in Colorado.
We'll send you some samples, Tara.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.